Hey everybody, welcome back. So we're going to resume. We're 10% of the way through. Now we're at a section called Computer Basics. So, the introduction. Needless to say, whilst learning to code, you'll be spending most of your time on a computer. Hence, understanding how to work with your computer is crucial. In this lesson, we'll introduce a resource which will quickly get you up to speed with the basics of computers. Lesson overview. This section contains a general overview of topics that you will learn in this lesson. Computer software and hardware, how to take screenshots, and the importance of strong passwords. Goodwill Community Foundation resources are excellent to get you acquainted with the basics. They have accompanying videos and illustrations and are easy to read. The following readings should be sufficient, although you are welcome to explore more of GCF's resources. Cool. Goodwill Community Foundation. I have not even heard of this. Okay, so first off, we have what is a computer? A computer is an electronic device that manipulates information or data. It has the ability to store, retrieve, and process data. You may already know this, but you can use a computer to type documents, send email, play games, and browse the web. You can also use it to edit or create spreadsheets and presentations or even videos. Watch the video to learn more about the different computers. Okay, I'm going to fast forward this. Okay, so that was pretty obvious. I guess if you're really just starting, that would be helpful. Before we talk about different types of computers, let's talk about two things all computers have in common, hardware and software. Okay, so yeah, hardware is the physical structure. Software is the what to do and how to do it. It's a set of instructions. Okay, cool. Everything you do on your computer will rely on both hardware and software. For example, right now you may be viewing this lesson in a web browser, which is software, and you're using a mouse, which is hardware. As you learn from the different types of computers, ask yourself about the differences in the hardware. As you progress through this tutorial, you'll see what different types there are. What are the different types? There's laptops, personal computers, desktop, laptop. Okay, cool. Tablet computers, and their servers. Any types, smartphones, other types of computers. These are all computers, yeah, PCs and Macs. Personal computers come in two main styles, PC and Mac. Both are fully functional, but they have different look and feel, and many people prefer one or the other. PCs, this type of computer began with the original IBM PC, which was introduced in 1981. Other companies began creating similar computers, which were called IBM PC compatible, often shortened to PC. IBM PC, okay. So when you hear PC, it's actually IBM PC. That's short for it. It typically includes Windows operating system, typically. Macs. Macintosh computer was introduced in 1984. It was the first widely sold personal computer with graphic user interface, or GUI. All Macs are made by one company called Apple, and they almost always use the Mac OS operating system. Cool. Basic parts of a computer. Now, I wonder, what is an operating system? What is an application? Knowledge check. Okay, so what's an operating system? Cool, so here we go again. Okay, so that was helpful. I guess the operating system's job. The computer's operating system manages all the software and hardware on the computer. Most of the time, there are several different programs running at the same time, and they all need access to your central processing unit and storage. The operating system coordinates and makes sure that each type of these programs gets what it needs. If you wanted to do that, you can go into press Command Spacebar, and that'll bring up Spotlight, and you can do Activity Monitor, and this will tell you about all the different processes that are running on your computer. So these are the ones that are accessing the CPU and the memory, energy. There's a lot of interesting tools here. So that's Activity Monitor. Types of operating systems. Operating systems usually come preloaded on the computers you buy. Most people use the operating system that comes with the computer, but it's possible to upgrade or even change operating systems. The three most common operating systems for personal computers are Microsoft, Windows, Mac OS, and Linux. Cool. And modern operating systems use a graphical user interface, pronounced GUI. A GUI lets you use your mouth to click on items. So right now what you're seeing here is a GUI. Each operating system's GUI has a different look and feel. So if you switch to a different operating system, they're designed to be, however, modern operating systems are designed to be easy to use, and most of the basic principles are the same. So you've got Windows, which was created in the mid-'80s. There have been many different versions of Windows. The most recent ones are Windows 10. Windows comes preloaded onto most PCs, which helps to make it the most popular operating system in the world. Check out tutorials on Windows Basic. Mac OS, previously called OS X, is a line of operating systems created by Apple. It comes preloaded on all Macintosh computers. According to Star Counter Global Stats, Mac OS users account for less than 10% of global operating systems, much lower than the percentage of Windows users, more than 80%. One reason that this is that Apple computers tend to be more expensive. However, many people do prefer the look and feel of Mac OS over Windows. Linux, pronounced Linux, is a family of operating systems, which means they can be modified and distributed by anyone in the world. This is different from proprietary software like Windows, which can only be modified by the company that owns it. The advantage of Linux are that it is free, and there are many different distributions or versions you can choose from. According to Star Counter Global, Linux users are 2% of the global operating systems. However, most servers run Linux because it's relatively easy to customize. Okay, cool. To learn more about distribution of Linux, visit Ubuntu, Linux Mint, Fedora websites, or refer to our Linux resource for more comprehensive list. You can visit Make Use of's list of best Linux distributions. Interesting. This looks like they didn't quite. Okay, cool. So this is one of the really great reasons why I wanted to go through this Odin project and really do my best to be very thorough with it. Is I was a little confused as to the relationship between Linux and things like Debian and Ubuntu. Is that right? Ubuntu is Debian based, which shifts with GNOME. So that's interesting. I a lot of times I wasn't really exactly clear on people when they said that they were running a Linux system. And now I understand that means that they're not doing they're doing the Linus Torvald open source version of that. The great thing about going through this Odin project is that it's been helping me to focus and learn more about this stuff. I don't know. Oh yeah, I'm sure you could. You could just get a machine and download it. Okay, so let's move on. What is an operating system? So a lot of this typing, operating system for mobile device. The operating systems we've been talking about so far were designed to run on desktop and laptop computers. Mobile devices such as phones, tablet computers, and MP3 players are different from the desktop, laptop computers, so they run operating systems that are designed specifically for mobile devices. This is one of the reasons why mobile development is a niche, and you don't mobile developers. It's a separate skill. If you learn web development, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to be able to that you'd have also if you learn how to program on a web apps, you don't really necessarily learn mobile app development. So that's something that I've only done a very little bit of. But yeah, cool. So that's the computer basics. What is an operating system? What is an application? Cool. You may have heard people talking about using a program, an application, or an app, but what exactly does that mean? Simply put, an app is a type of software that allows you to perform specific tasks. Applications for desktop or laptop computers are sometimes called desktop applications. So applications for desktop or laptop computers. So this could be like, this is Brave. This is a web browsing tool. This is a desktop application. And then mobile applications are the ones that you have on your phone. When you open an application, it runs inside the operating system until you close it. Most of the time, you will have more than one application open at the same time, which is known as multitasking. App is a common term for application, especially for simple applications that can be downloaded inexpensively or even for free. Many apps are also available for mobile devices and even some TVs. Interesting. I'm going to skip the videos because the videos have just talked about exactly what the articles say. So since I'm reading the articles, I don't need to watch the video. There are countless desktop applications, and they fall into several categories. Some are more full-featured, like Microsoft Word, while others only do one or two things, like a clock or a calendar app. Below are a few types of applications you might use. So you have a word processor. A word processor allows you to write a letter, design a flyer, and create many types of documents. The most well-known word processor is Microsoft Word. You've got web browsers. These are a tool you use to access the internet. Most computers come with web browser pre-installed, but you can also download different one if you prefer. Examples of browsers include Internet Explorer, Mozilla Firefox, Google Chrome, and Safari. Also Ecosia and, oh, that's a search, and Brave. Media player. If you want to listen to MP3s or watch movies you've downloaded, you'll need to use a media player. Windows Media Player and iTunes are popular media players. And there's games. There are many types of games you can play on your computer. They range from card games like Solitaire to action games like Halo. Many action games require a lot of computing power, so they may not work unless you have a newer computer. So, yeah. And then we have mobile apps. Desktop and laptop computers aren't the only devices that can run applications. You can also download apps from mobile devices like smartphones and tablets. Here are a few examples of mobile apps. You've got your Gmail, Instagram, and Duolingo. Duolingo is great for learning languages. Installing new applications. Every computer and mobile device will come with some applications already built in, such as a web browser and media player. However, you can also purchase and install new apps to add more functionality. You can review our lessons on installing software on your PC, installing software on your Mac, and free software to learn more. Cool. So that was computer basics. That was what is an application. So now we're going to move on to open source versus closed source software. Cool. Almost every piece of computer software is created using source code, which is the technical blueprint that tells a program how to function. When creators release their finished product to the public, they must decide whether to make the code open source or closed source. So, again, I think these videos just go through the article, so I'm just going to read it. What is open source and closed source? With closed source software, also known as proprietary software, the public is not given access to the source code, so they can't see or modify it in any way. But with open source software, our source code is publicly available to anyone who wants it, and programmers can read or change that code if they desire. Keep in mind that you don't have to read or modify any code in order to use an open source product. Which type is more common? The vast majority of apps, games, and other popular software is closed source. However, there are open source options for many types of programmers. If you want an open source alternative to Microsoft Office, you could use LibreOffice, which instead of using Windows, you could try an open source Linux operating system. Other common open source examples include Firefox, web browser, and WordPress blogging platform. Ruby on Rails and Node.js are also open source projects. What are pros and cons? One of the open source's biggest advantages is that it's usually free, although some features or technical support may cost extra. Also, because the code is available to anyone who wants it, public collaboration can fix bugs, add features, and improve performance within relatively short times. However, open source software isn't perfect. It may not be as user-friendly as closed source software, and if you run into trouble, it may be difficult to find technical support, especially for less popular programs. Closed source software is more likely to be a stable, focused product if you need customer service, it's typically easier to access. However, closed source software often costs money, and it has any bugs or missing features, you'll have to wait on the creator to address the problem. Now you understand the difference between open and closed source software. You can take advantage of the type that best meets your needs. Okay, cool. Open source versus closed source. So, yeah, taking screenshots. Interesting. There may be times when you want to explain things, what's happening on your computer. Knowing how to take a picture of the screen is also known as a screenshot or screen grab, can be handy in a variety of ways. Cool. Screenshots captured by a screenshot application. Taking screenshots in Macs using the application. The app you're looking for is called Screenshot. Huh. I never even knew that was what it was called. I've always used the short keys. Command-Shift-4 gets you one like this. And I think Command-Shift-3 takes just a picture of your screen. So you get 3, 4, or 5. Both Command-Shift-3, Command-Shift-4, and Command-Shift-5 all do the screenshot too as well. See the toolbar, and then they just basically tell you want to take a picture of your entire screen. Mouse screen it to the whole thing. Okay, cool. Oh, here it is. Command-Shift-3 and 4. Nice. And tells you to put the crosshairs on it, and then press the space bar if you want to change the camera icon. Cool. I'm not going to go over how to take screenshots in Windows, but it seems pretty much... Oh, taking screenshots with mobile devices. If you didn't know that, you can click both sides of your iPhone, and they will take a screenshot. So cool. One thing I would add, when I'm taking screenshots, oftentimes I like to include, especially when I'm doing technical screenshot stuff, include that. And then when it comes down here, and it opens up temporarily in the bottom right corner of the screen, and then you can do things like, draw on it, and you can say this is where the problem is or something like that. And so I find that this is useful for getting good writing good questions. They were saying. So if you were to do that, oh gosh. So yeah, I can click that and press the delete button, and then here's the text. Okay, and then I can add this here, maybe make the text larger. Cool. And then with this, if I press the exit and I save, now that will be saved to my desktop. And you'll see that it's like that. And so I could share this with people, and if it was useful, I would I could add it to the Discord chat if I had technical problems. So yeah, Command-Shift-4. Cool. Taking screenshots. Creating strong passwords. You'll need to create password to do just about everything on the web, from checking your email and to online banking. And while it's simpler to use short, easy to remember password, this can also pose serious risks to your online security. To protect yourself and your information, you'll want to use passwords that are long, strong, and difficult for someone else to guess, while keeping them relatively easy for you to remember. Why do I need a strong password? At this point, you may be wondering, why do I even need a strong password anyways? The truth is that even though most websites are secure, there's always a small chance that someone may try to access or steal your information. This is commonly known as hacking. I don't think that's what it's called, hacking. A strong password is one of the best ways to defend your account and private information from hackers. Tips for creating strong passwords. Never use personal information such as your name, birth date, username, or email address. This type of information is often publicly available, which makes it easier for someone to guess your password. Use a longer password. Your password should have at least 6 characters long. Although for your extra security, it should be even longer. Don't use the same password for each account. If someone discovers your password for one account, all your other accounts will be vulnerable. Try to include numbers, symbols, and both upper and lowercase letters. Avoid using words that can be found in the dictionary. For example, swimming 1 would be a weak password. Can be found in the dictionary. Interesting. Random passwords are the strongest. If you're having trouble creating one, you can use the password generator. Strong password generator. Click generate password. There you go. That could be your password if you really want to make your life especially difficult. Common passwords and mistakes. Some of the most commonly used passwords are based on family names, hobbies, or just a simple pattern. While these types of passwords are easy to remember, they're also some of the least secure. Let's take a look at some of the most common password mistakes and how to fix them. Here we've got Brian12Kate5. I doubt anyone could guess my password. It's my kids' names and ages. Who else would know that? The problem, the password he uses too much personal information along with common words that could be found in the dictionary. Solution: a stronger version of this password would be to use symbols, uppercase letters, and more random order. Rather than using family names, we could combine a character from a movie with a type of food. For example, Chewbacca pizza would become Chewbacca pizza. And you notice they put an exclamation mark instead of the I, so that's pretty tricky. So here we've got West with an X. My password is so simple, it's just the beginning of my street address with a few extra characters. So this password would be lowercase w3, capital S, lowercase t, exclamation point. At only 5 characters, this password is way too short. It also includes part of her address, which is publicly visible information. Solution: a stronger password would be much longer. So here he's got 123 ABCCBA321. So ideally your password should be more than 10 characters. We could also substitute a nearby street name instead of her current address. For example, Pembley Ave could be Pembley Ave. And it's got a percentage point instead of a space there. Yeah. My password follows a simple pattern, so it's easy to remember and type on my keyboard. So this guy's was 123 ABC CBA 321. So it's a what's the word for when they're backwards and forwards? It could be spelled, it's the same backwards and forward. Anyways, while patterns like these are easy to remember, they're also one of the first things a hacker might guess when attempting to access your account. Solution: random passwords are much stronger than simple passwords. If you're having trouble creating a new password, try using a password generator instead. Oh, I said that again. So here we have a password, BraveZ exclamation point 2. I use the same password for all my accounts. This way, I only have to remember one password. Problem: there's nothing really wrong with this password, but remember that you should never use the same password with different accounts. Create a unique password for each of your online accounts. Using password managers. Instead of writing your passwords on paper for someone who might find them, you can use a password manager to store them securely online. Password managers can remember and enter your password on different websites, which means you won't have to remember longer passwords. Examples of password managers include LastPass, 1Password, and Google Chrome's Password Manager. Okay, this is great. So here they have finally a good example. £, capital P, 52, lowercase s, at, a, lowercase p, money, capital V. I use a password generator to create all my passwords. They're not super easy to remember, but that's okay. I also use a password manager to keep track of them. This is a great example of a strong password. It's strong, long, and difficult for someone else to guess. It uses more than 10 characters with letters, numbers, and symbols, and includes no obvious personal information or common words. This password might even be a bit too complicated to remember without a password manager. Might be. Which underscores why they're so helpful when creating a strong password. Remember to use these tips whenever you create a password to keep your online information safe and secure. Cool. Okay, so that was all the assignments for computer basics. So now our knowledge chest in this section contains questions for you to check your understanding of the lesson on your own. If you're having trouble answering the question, click it and review the material it links to. Is Windows an operating system or an application? Windows is an operating system. Okay, cool. What's the difference between open source and closed source software? It's whether the source code of the projects is publicly available or it's closed. What are some use cases for a screenshot? Screenshots have so many use cases. I mean, I don't even understand why it's asked that question. Give an example of a weak and a strong password. Okay, cool. I think we kind of went over all that stuff. What are the things with the password? You don't want any personal information in them. They need to be at least 10 characters long. You want to have a combination of upper and lowercase, and you want to have symbols as well in there. And you don't want to use the same password across multiple different login sites. So, cool. Additional resources. This section contains helpful links to related content. Check out what are accessibility features and learn how you can leverage these features to use your computer more effectively. Cool. System preferences. Nice. This is just kind of all stuff about how to... Oh, screen magnifiers, alternative keyboards, switch adapt for peripherals. Okay, cool. But for the purpose of becoming a good web developer, I think a lot of people are going to pick that up just in the process of spending so much time with computers. Cool. That's it for that one. And so we clicked on. Next one is called How Does the Web Work? And so that's it for now. We'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching.